Hey guys, today we have Shrikant and he is having total 14 years of experience, 7 years in Oracle and 7 years in Java, Spring Boot and microservices. So hey, hi Shrikant, how are you?
Yeah, hi. I'm fine. How about you?
Yeah, I'm also good. Shall we start?
Yes, please.
Yeah. So Shrikant, can you please explain your recent project and also introduce yourself?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, myself, Srikanth P.
Mm-hmm.
I'm associated with the service industry from past 14 years.
Mm-hmm.
I predominantly work on technologies domains like e-commerce, retail e-commerce,
Mm-hmm.
and telecom e-commerce. So I may predominantly work on telecom e-commerce clients and as well
Mm-hmm.
as on banking clients as well, banking domain as well. So my major, the tasks
Mm-hmm.
that on a daily basis which I do is
Mm-hmm.
like first, I used to check my entire the development of the code what I have done so far to take the
Mm-hmm.
latest builds, latest checkouts, code checkout,
Mm-hmm.
and then take the daily participate in sprint ceremonies where
Mm-hmm.
we do the grooming of the stories on the clarifications or the
Mm-hmm.
the design clarifications and the requirement clarifications. I
Okay.
participate in that session
With client.
as well with the client.
Mm-hmm.
And then, we do have every day to check the vulnerabilities, the defects that are coming in the
Mm-hmm.
application.
Mm-hmm.
So to cross verify them, on every alternate days to check
Mm-hmm.
whether we have any severity, highest severity vulnerabilities, so that
Okay.
we can, reduce them to push
Mm-hmm.
the code into the higher environment.
Okay, okay. So, I think you must be leading features and all right in your current
Right,
projects, and
right,
you
right,
might have some juniors developer.
right.
So how do you review their code and how do you collaborate with your junior developers and how do you work as a team? Can you please give a brief on this?
Sure, sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, so basically, we use Jenkins CI/CD pipeline. So
Mm-hmm.
in that process, like once you build your application or build your code,
Mm-hmm.
so we will do the code scan where we'll
Mm-hmm.
get the complete code vulnerabilities and this one, I mean
Mm-hmm.
severity bugs. So where
Mm-hmm.
we first reach out to the developers first before that,
Mm-hmm.
like
Mm-hmm.
to see like how the developers have written the code. Like we do a peer-to-peer code review,
Peer-to-peer code review.
right? So
Mm-hmm.
where to identify like proper camel cases are being used.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So for that, like normal, we use the STS Spring Tool
Mm-hmm.
suite, or through we can do a common live sharing session to do the
Mm-hmm.
code review, and then we completely understand like the feature
Mm-hmm.
wise how the developer has developed the code. Say for example,
Okay.
the feature called like search feature.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
For the
Mm-hmm.
specific search feature, how the developer has written the entire code. So
Mm-hmm.
like whether the each class to interface or interface to class, how the mapping is done,
Mm-hmm.
whether the proper proper extensions, whether they
Best
follow the solid principles.
whether they are following best
Right,
practices.
best
Yeah, yeah.
practices, code best practices.
Mm-hmm.
So all this has been reviewed over the code,
Okay.
especially with the the coding standards. As per the coding standards,
Mm-hmm.
the proper usage of camel cases, proper usage
Mm-hmm.
of the functionality names. Okay,
Okay.
as per the business requirement. So all this will be taken care
Mm-hmm.
during code review.
Okay. So, have you ever faced a challenge while working with your team? For example, let's say there is a deadline coming, but your team is not able to produce the work and you had faced some issues with your client. Have you ever faced this situation? And if yes, so how do you overcome to this deadline things?
Right. So yeah, recently it happened
Mm-hmm.
like when the developer has accepted the story,
Mm-hmm.
which tend to a story of size bigger than one sprint. So
Okay.
initially the story has given of 8 story points, which is
Mm-hmm.
mid-size story, mid-scale story,
Mm-hmm.
but however it tended to 14 story points.
Mm-hmm.
So during which, like, during the mid of the sprint, we came to know that this cannot be executed in a single sprint.
Mm-hmm.
Then we had a discussion we brought the client into the, our sprint call, release
Okay.
sprint call, and we discussed the story,
Mm-hmm.
and we
Refactor it.
introduced, sorry,
I mean, refactor it
right. I
in
mean,
terms of.
we discussed like what we can deliver in that.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, we created several subtasks in that, and we
Mm-hmm.
told that, we informed the client that whatever the stories that can be delivered as
Mm-hmm.
part of this sprint is this story has around 5 to 6 subtasks,
Mm-hmm.
and the story first of all can be divided into two stories. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
story one will be of 8 story points, and remaining will be taken care in another sprint.
Mm-hmm.
So where we explain the client that, what are the challenges. Like say,
Challenges. Yeah.
in that story, like what happened is, the design, as per the design, we implemented a search feature.
Mm-hmm.
Search feature is based on certain input parameters. But
Okay.
later on, the client has clearly mentioned in the requirement that the search should happen not only based on single parameter, but it should happen with the multiple parameters. But while
Okay.
implementing that multiple parameter features, we came up with
Mm-hmm.
multiple issues. Then
Okay.
that story has became an elaborated story with 16 story points
Mm.
that we divided them in upcoming sprint and informed the client ahead.
Okay. Okay. So, moving ahead, how did you use Sonar for maintaining code quality? And can you give an example of a code quality issue that helped you resolve something or any feature or anything?
Right. So sonar cube issues, like, yeah, especially, there is something called SAST and DAST,
Mm-hmm.
okay, static code analysis and dynamic code analysis, as part
Okay.
of the vulnerabilities. Okay.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
So, during the static code
Mm-hmm.
analysis, like, you will come across with the SQL injections.
Mm-hmm.
Like user is going to introduce some passwords.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes developer is to,
Yeah,
um,
yeah, yeah.
typecast the password.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So, and because of which it leads to SQL injections.
Yeah,
In order to
correct.
avoid that, we do complete, with the help of Sonar Cube, we do the complete code scan to
Mm-hmm.
identify such vulnerabilities.
Okay.
So, and then we do complete analysis using, there are certain, tools are available like
Mm-hmm.
SpyNK. So with the
Okay.
help of those tools, we identify, first of all,
Mm-hmm.
is there any version upgrades are required using the libraries,
Mm-hmm.
because we use multiple libraries.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Do we
Correct,
require
correct.
any version upgrades?
Mm-hmm.
So that we do first, and then we identify, like, any
Mm-hmm.
after usage of such libraries, still we have
Mm-hmm.
severities are there, that we will trace it out, and then we'll fix
Mm-hmm.
them in upcoming release.
Mm-hmm.
So in an overall nutshell, like, we do a deep dive
Mm-hmm.
by taking the Sonar Cube report,
Mm-hmm.
which sometimes we used to generate by ourselves, or
Mm-hmm.
we can generate with the help of you know uh, CI/CD team.
Mm-hmm. Got it, got it. Okay, so have you ever seen class not found exception in your project? And if
Yes,
yes,
yes.
then how can we resolve it?
Yeah. So basically, the very first thing that we can
Mm-hmm.
do with using the class not found exception, like,
Mm-hmm.
first of all, while running the entire code base,
Mm-hmm.
so we see, wherever we have, with respect to the classes that we define, if the class is particular class is not available. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So first we will check the class path,
Okay.
entire class path.
Mm-hmm.
So and we will see whether the class is particularly loaded or not.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Okay.
So once we verify that, then we will directly go into,
Mm-hmm.
see like why this class path is not picking the particular class,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Okay. Okay.
right? So
Yes.
in my particular folder structure, and then I'll identify that the so and so package is not being picked up, and
Mm-hmm.
then we will see and we will identify the root cause by identifying the specific class path, and then
Mm-hmm.
fix it.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Okay. So yeah, correct. So Shrikant, can you? I think your face is moving down. Can you?
Oh, okay.
Yeah, yeah, little up your.
Now,
Mm, yeah, now it's fine. It's down again, I think. But it's fine. Yeah. Okay. So before moving on to the next question, I would like to introduce one thing for the viewers. So actually, we have designed an interview preparation package structured step by step, containing 16 PDFs. So it's basically a one-stop solution to crack any interview. And this package covers core Java, Spring Framework, Maven, Git, Spring Boot, scenario-based questions, Spring Security, Spring MVC, Spring Data JPA, microservices, Hibernate, general Java coding question, Stream API coding question, and many more. And Shrikant, the best part is that people have been telling me like they have cracked their interviews with this material, and there is a 99% chance that the interviewer will ask from this package. So after this interview, I will add to get that package. I mean, I will add the link in the description. Okay. Yeah. Now moving ahead. Uh, can you explain how HashMap works in Java and what happens when two keys have the same hash code?
okay, yeah.
Yeah.
So basically, hashing is one of the uh, algorithm
Mm-hmm.
that is being used to identify, where it stores the entire values, the
Mm-hmm.
entire key values in an address location in a bucket format.
Okay.
So that will give you the address location of each key where
Mm-hmm.
the value is being stored.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So that is the way it involves like whenever you identify, whenever you store any value in the, you know in that hash map variable,
Mm-hmm.
it will first create, when you say map dot put key comma value, it will
Mm-hmm.
refer, that key refers to a particular location, which is
Mm-hmm.
address location in your
Mm-hmm.
heap memory.
Mm-hmm.
So that's how it will point to each key points to different buckets location in
Okay.
the map, and that will give you the individual path. So it is very much important to, to use,
Mm-hmm.
to override hash code and equals method.
Okay.
Otherwise, because of which it leads to sometime memory leaks.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay. So what happens when two key have the same hash code?
a collision.
Collisions.
Yes.
Okay. So do we have any solution for the collisions?
uh yes, but right now I'm not able to recollect that.
Okay. Yeah. So have you? I mean, have you? Did you get a chance to work on concurrent hash map uh, in your project?
Yes,
Concurrent
yes.
hash. Okay. Can you please brief on this?
Say again.
Can you please brief on this concurrent hash map?
Concurrent hash map, yeah.
Yes.
So basically, concurrent hash map is one of the wonderful feature, like
Mm-hmm.
especially for doing the implementing the lock on the particular thread.
Mm-hmm.
So basically, when we compare with the normal hash map, concurrent
Mm-hmm.
hash map is very much thread safe.
Okay.
So where, at a time, multiple threads can access
Okay.
it. So without
Okay.
any synchronization issue.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Okay.
So one of the main important feature of using this hash map, you know,
Mm-hmm.
if you want to lock a particular portion of the
Mm-hmm.
map.
Mm-hmm.
Let's say, if you want to lock certain key or certain value,
Mm-hmm.
certain key, then you
Mm-hmm.
can use this concurrent hash map,
Mm-hmm.
and you can, completely do the write operation on that particular hash map, on that map.
Okay.
So that is the main important feature of using this hash
Okay.
map.
So
Same.
how do okay, okay. All right. So
Okay.
how does this current hash map improve performance in a multi-threaded environment?
Yeah, because you use the synchronized, since it is
Mm-hmm.
a synchronization, because of thread safety, you have a feature like, it provides a synchronization where one thread at a time can
Mm-hmm.
do a lock on that particular object.
Okay.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So while doing any kind of retrieval operations,
Mm-hmm.
so at a time, if number of threads are doing, a fetch operation,
Mm-hmm.
but not the update operation, the here the thread should lock that
Okay.
particular segment.
Okay.
So in which, threads want to operate.
Mm.
So basically, there is another name for this one is called segment locking or a bucket locking.
Okay.
Here you can use this to, lock on that particular object till you perform the write operation or fetch
Mm-hmm.
operation on that particular object. So that is how you use the concurrent hash map,
Mm. Okay.
and
Okay.
where you can avoid using, insertion of null objects using
Mm-hmm.
concurrent hash map.
Mm. Okay. 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 So, can we create immutable classes in Java? If yes,
Yes, yes,
uh, okay. So how can we create?
yes, using final keyword.
Okay,
Yeah, when you declare a class, you make class with the final keyword, final
as
class,
well as
class name.
private, right?
Yeah, final class name, and members as private. That member
Mm.
the key variables as private members,
Mm-hmm.
and where you don't have setter methods, only getter methods you have.
So why? I mean, why we should not have setter methods?
Yeah, because you are if you are giving an access to setter, right, you are going to change the value.
Mm. Yeah. Okay. Okay. Uh, can you please explain transaction management in Spring?
Transaction management in Spring.
Mm.
Yes, using at the rate transactional
Mm-hmm.
operation.
Mm-hmm.
So, let us say, you are doing, airline online reservation operation.
Okay.
Like you are booking a ticket and airline ticket.
Okay.
Okay. So
Mm-hmm.
now you are entering the entire passenger information,
Okay.
like name, address, how many tickets are you required, like all the entire passenger information you are entering. And
Mm-hmm.
once you enter the passenger information, you are making, payment. Let us say while doing the payment operation,
Mm-hmm.
if the payment operation is successful,
Okay.
the entire transaction is saved in the database using
Okay.
at the rate transactional operation in the using
Mm.
Spring Boot.
Mm-hmm.
So if in case, let's say while doing the payment, if
Mm-hmm.
any of the payment operation or if the payment operation is failed because of payment service is down, the
Mm-hmm.
entire transaction will be rolled back.
Okay.
So that is a feature given by the at the rate transaction
Transaction
annotation.
annotation. Mm. Okay. Okay. So moving ahead, can we customize a specific auto configuration in Spring Boot?
Can we customize? Sorry, say again.
Can we customize a specific auto configuration in a Spring Boot?
Yes, but I don't know how to do that. I'm not sure.
Okay. 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 Yeah. No problem. Uh,
Basically, the customization. Basically, we have, meta
mm-hmm.
hyphen inf dot factories. Okay, in Spring
Mm-hmm.
Boot.
Yes.
So
Yes. Yes.
where all the configurations has been configured in the meta hyphen inf folder. So in that, all the dependencies being,
Mm-hmm.
provided while the container is going to check whether the specific bean is available or not. So
Okay.
that is one of the key, configuration
Hmm.
to provide the feature of auto configuration.
Okay. Yeah, yeah, nice. Yeah, moving ahead, as you are leading some projects and you already led many things in the past. So, can you tell me what are the main challenges in designing microservice-based applications?
Right.
Hmm.
Yeah. So majorly, like what I faced in my application,
Okay.
while I'm migrating the application from one
Monolithic.
data source to other data source,
Okay.
um, the major challenge is,
Mm-hmm.
as we say,
Mm-hmm.
each microservice should have their own database.
Okay.
Basically, microservice is a small unit, a single small unit where
Mm-hmm.
which can be easily deployable and independently developable. You
Mm-hmm.
can develop independently without any language specific,
Yes,
respective of
correct.
language platform. You can develop a microservice and you can
Mm-hmm.
scale it independently. You have
Correct.
a payment service, you have a shop add to cart service, and you have you know
Checkout
uh,
service,
yeah,
user
user
management
service.
service.
Yeah. So let's say during any seasonal, like
Mm-hmm.
say you are getting a big billion day. So
Mm-hmm.
during that season, you want to scale that tomorrow is going to be a big billion day where the sales will go high,
Okay.
right? So
Right.
you obviously you can go and you want to scale your service.
Mm.
Rather, if you use a monolithic application, it's very difficult to scale. You have to make
Mm.
your production down and all.
Mm.
However, here, since each microservice is independently deployable and developable,
Okay.
you can use that, you can only scale that particular service or add to
Okay.
cart service. So
Mm-hmm.
that is a feature given by with the help of microservice. Now,
Mm-hmm.
in my application, coming
Mm-hmm.
to the question, like where I was developing when I was developing my microservice
Mm-hmm.
independently, I
Mm-hmm.
faced the challenge that initially we thought of going for a common database across
Okay.
multiple services,
Across multiple services.
So we had around 5 to 6 services which we developed
Mm-hmm.
for migration.
Mm-hmm.
But what happened is we had a common database.
Mm-hmm.
Now what happened? Uh, when a particular transaction is done in one
Mm-hmm.
particular microservice,
Mm-hmm.
it is uh, it is not being updated, in other service because it was
Okay.
not an event-driven service. It was a normal basic microservice which is trying to having a common database.
Okay.
But in that scenario, what happened? Service one is having data, some X data, which is not updated in the X service two.
So this
So
is what you were facing while using the same database.
same database.
Okay.
Then we made, you know, a common database, individual separate databases across each service.
Mm-hmm.
So even as per the microservice design, characteristics, each
Mm-hmm.
microservice should have their own database.
Okay.
So which helped us, then we configured a separate schema for each
Mm-hmm.
service.
Okay. So,
Due
like,
to
what's stopping? I mean, as you said, you were using a same database, and it was, I mean, you were facing some challenges updating details in other tables, in other microservice, right? So, what was the actual issue? Like, what was the root cause of that? Like, why? Uh, Other microservices data are were not being stored when you were using a single database. Like, what was the root cause?
common database,
Yeah, in common database case.
right? Because we used, there is a third-party tool called Liquibase. So,
Okay.
yeah, so where user are not allowed directly to operate on the production database. You can
Okay.
use this Liquibase tool
Mm-hmm.
to do the all the transactions like CRUD operations. So
Okay.
the major challenge that we faced is,
Mm-hmm.
for example, if you are for a common database also we have a separate service.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Now let us say since we are using common database,
Mm-hmm.
That microservice should always be up and running. First
Okay.
thing. Okay. So if any changes happens,
Mm-hmm.
you know, if any data read or any feed comes in from your external systems,
Mm-hmm.
you have to update the database. Now
Okay.
you have updated the database, but since that service is not updating the content to all services, so like
Okay.
service A is there, service B is there, service
Easier.
C is there.
Easier.
Service A is common across all services,
Okay.
which is a common database service. Now,
Okay.
service B is individual service, service C is
Mm-hmm.
individual service.
Mm-hmm.
Now, since if you don't use a event driven database, event driven microservice approach,
Mm-hmm.
okay, then what happens is when some updates happen in your database service,
Mm-hmm.
okay, then this data should be appropriately communicated to other services, or
Okay.
the other services has to read the data from common database on
Mm-hmm.
frequent basis, on a scheduled basis.
Okay.
So that only will happen when you have an pub sub pattern, or if you have if you use any
So what's this
Kafka.
pub sub pattern? Can
Pub
you?
sub pattern is, yeah, publisher by subscriber, where
Mm-hmm.
if you take a message broker, okay,
Mm-hmm.
message broker
Okay.
is one pattern where the messages will be sent and read
Mm-hmm.
and sent through a pub sub pattern.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now,
Yeah.
let's say if in the common database, if any changes happen in the
Mm-hmm.
latest data has been stored in the database,
Mm-hmm.
then this has to communicate to other services. That
Okay.
only will happen if you have an event, if you trigger an event listener through which that event by microservice A will read with microservice B. Similarly, microservice B, C
Mm-hmm.
will read with microservice A. So it will read the data has to be transmitted to all services when you use this PubSub pattern.
Mm. Okay. Okay.
Okay. So
Yeah.
that is
Yeah.
we call it event-driven microservices. So the
Mm.
challenge that we faced is since we did not implemented event-driven,
Mm-hmm.
we face this problem of using common database. Then
Okay.
we came with two approaches. One is to have a separate database for each microservice, or
Okay.
go with a PubSub pattern or message broker
Message broker.
event-driven microservice, so
Mm.
that we can use either like message broker like Kafka,
Mm-hmm.
or
Okay. Okay.
any other message broker patterns, so that that it will for every change happens
Mm-hmm.
in the common database, so it should trigger an event, and that should be read by
Okay.
through a pub and sub model for each
Mm-hmm.
microservice.
Mm. Okay. Got it. So yeah, moving ahead, how would you Dockerize a Spring Boot application for development and production environments?
Right. So basically, we use, you know, uh,
Mm-hmm.
we have Helm charts. You know,
Okay.
in the CI/CD pipeline,
Mm-hmm.
generally what happens is whenever you do, you know, whenever any new change, whenever
Mm-hmm.
user commits a change in the
Mm-hmm.
version control system, in the
Mm-hmm.
VCS,
Mm-hmm.
then that after you do a build scan,
Okay.
once you build it, you do a complete code scan, and then
Mm-hmm.
you give it to the um, your image team, so the dockerize,
Mm-hmm.
where through docker it will create an image. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
so once you create the image, you will do an image scan, and
Mm-hmm.
if there is no vulnerabilities, then you push that image to the
Okay.
GitHub repository, or your
Okay.
same GitHub repository or separate one.
Mm-hmm.
Now, this particular latest changes,
Mm-hmm.
whatever is there in VCS, has to go in your Kubernetes cluster. Okay.
Okay.
So generally what happens, Kubernetes will
Mm-hmm.
read Helm charts
Okay.
frequently. So that Helm charts will give you what is the latest latest code base version is going in. So
Mm-hmm.
any changes happen on a particular, you know, in latest changes are coming in through a patch. So
Mm-hmm.
through Helm charts, it reads the complete data and then push it into the Kubernetes cluster. So that's how we do.
For production and as well as in
uh, yeah, UAT or SIT.
development. Okay, okay, okay. So, moving ahead, can you explain the Maven life cycle and its phases?
Mm, no, I'm sorry, I'm not aware of that.
Okay,
Mm.
okay, no worries. So Maven, I think it has like clean site default. So like verify, install, complete test package. These are some like overview I'm giving phases name. Okay, so moving ahead, mm, 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 mm. How do you ensure your Java application are scalable and maintainable?
Yeah, first thing is I'll make sure there is a loose coupling
Okay.
between the components.
Correct.
Okay,
Mm,
so and I'll make sure to follow the solid principles.
okay.
So where it says like, S means a single responsibility. Each class should hold would hold a particular purpose.
Okay.
Okay, each class
So,
should serve a particular purpose rather than
okay.
combining multiple, objects into single class. So each class should have own single responsibility.
Mm-hmm.
Similarly, O refers to like, open and
Mm-hmm.
close. Open for
For
extension, close for
s-
modification.
modification.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that tells, indirectly like, you can extend the class and do
Mm-hmm.
your, your operations on top of it rather than modifying the existing class.
Mm-hmm.
Similarly, L tells about, Liskov substitution principles, which it says your derived class should be
Mm-hmm.
substituted with the base class. So
Mm-hmm.
whenever you define a derived class,
Mm-hmm.
so at any given point of time, it should be replaceable with the subclass, base class.
Mm-hmm. Base class.
Similarly, you have this, integration segregation, interface segregation principle,
Mm-hmm.
where it will tell, you should not force the client to implement all the unnecessary methods. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
rather
Mm-hmm.
ask them to implement whichever are required.
Okay.
So for that, we implement multiple interfaces
Mm-hmm.
based on each purpose.
Mm.
And we have the other one is about the dependency injection.
Dependency
Required
injection.
dependencies will be injected by container at the given
Mm-hmm.
point of time. So which makes our life helpful with the help of
Mm.
IOC
Very
container.
helpful.
So that's how I follow that.
So, yeah, just one quick question. So, like whatever you said, I think that is for maintainable.
Mm.
But what about for scalable?
Yeah, but basically, scalable itself will say yes. When you want to scale your application,
Mm,
you should first of all convert your application from monolith to microservice.
microservice. Mm. So cannot we scale monolithic application alone?
It is very difficult because first thing
Like
is
what challenges would we would be facing?
challenges is mainly deployment.
Deployment.
Yeah, because when you do a certain change, you
Mm-hmm.
should inform everyone in that in the team because everything will go in a single war file or EAR file.
Correct.
Okay,
Okay.
so every time when you do change,
Mm-hmm.
all the module leads has to be informed.
Mm-hmm.
And the entire build has to run. For a small change in the
Mm-hmm.
add to carts feature, you are
Mm-hmm.
doing entire build of the application, which
Correct.
will
Correct.
consume a lot of time.
Yes. Okay, so moving ahead. So what's your approach to error handling and logging in Spring Boot application?
Yeah, we have mechanisms given by Spring Boot, like we exception handling. We have for to handle the global exceptions.
Global exception.
We use the controller advice we
Mm-hmm.
define for the class, so that
Mm-hmm.
that controller advice can be used when when you define that at the controller level, so
Okay.
that you can handle all the exceptions globally.
Okay.
Whereas
Okay.
if you want to handle exceptions at the method level, we use exception handler to handle the exceptions for the specific methods.
Okay. And which log analysis tool you prefer? Just to
Kibana.
analyze. Come again?
Kibana.
Kibana.
Yeah.
Okay. And have you used any other tool other than Kibana?
Yeah, we used earlier like Splunk.
Splunk.
Yeah, we used
Okay.
different
So
log.
what if client ask you to implement this log analysis, and it's up to you, like you can choose either anyone like Kibana, Splunk, or any tool. So which would you prefer?
See, the latest as a trending market, like, which will give you the more efficient results. Like,
Mm-hmm.
within given span of time, if you are able to trace the complete log and
Mm-hmm.
able to fix the issue within short period of time,
Okay.
I mean, with very hassle-free way of debugging the things,
Mm-hmm.
that tool is more preferable. Mostly in the current today's market, like, Kibana is playing a major role,
Okay.
in order to doing the tracing of the logs.
Tracing logs. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Uh, can you discuss your experience with the integrating third-party services in any of the project?
Yeah. So, majorly, like, we integrated third-party services in our applications. Like, we use PayPal, especially for payment services, and
Okay.
we integrated, to get the pricing details. So we
Mm-hmm.
integrated the pricing service with the, third party, all the seasonal based prices. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
all those coming from third party, that we integrated, and we integrated, especially user informations. You know,
Mm-hmm.
in one of my B2B application, so
Mm-hmm.
entire user informations are coming from some third party source, so
Okay.
which
Okay.
user has logged and all the data, to authenticate and
Mm-hmm.
authorize the user. We integrated their existing third-party system to get the user information and
Mm-hmm.
what permissions he holds, like what
Okay.
roles and permissions he holds
Mm-hmm.
before he access the application.
Okay. 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 So moving ahead, how do you keep up with the continuous evaluation of the Java ecosystem? Because you are having 14 year of experience in this industry. You have seen the Java's very, I think you have worked on the Java's lower version, older version, and you also working on some newer versions of Java. So how do you keep up with the continuous evaluation?
Yeah, very simple things like,
Mm-hmm.
Java, you know, it's a very vast language.
Yes,
So where
correct.
every 6 months, you can say, or on year basis, you are getting a new versions with new
Mm-hmm.
features. Let's say,
Mm-hmm.
comparing from Java 8 to now,
Mm-hmm.
11 and 11 to 17 and 21.
Mm-hmm.
So there are features like in 17, they introduced the feature of, the where keyword. Introducing
Yeah,
a,
where keyword in the latest
yes,
version.
so we can directly use that. And
Yeah.
similarly, they enhanced the usage of the garbage collection.
Yes, they
Okay.
changed some algorithm,
Right.
something like that.
So like that, because the major patches that come in because of the older version having some, you
Mm-hmm.
know, some trade-offs. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
when you trade off between version to version, definitely the lower version has some issues. Like say, most of the times, even I faced is about the memory heap issues,
Mm-hmm.
Java heap memory issues. So most of the
Okay.
times we tend up to using like in your application like having memory leaks. So
Mm-hmm.
they keep on questioning, in my application, like one of my client was asking the very
Mm-hmm.
first question to the newcomers that how do you handle all the memory leaks in the application?
Okay.
So that you make sure that your code will be s- safer, secure, and
Secrecy.
without any leaks.
Correct.
So that was the, a target given for a certain milestone given for a certain,
Mm-hmm.
certain certain sprint. And it
Mm-hmm.
was a major issue. Like,
Mm-hmm.
happened is like whenever you deploy the application, you are getting uh, all sort of memory heap issues.
Mm-hmm.
So like version on version upgrades, so you have to see how you can overcome such issues.
Mm-hmm.
And based on that, I'll keep, I'll make sure that whatever the feature I implement, whether this feature, how how better I can scale that feature
Mm-hmm.
using the existing technology,
Mm-hmm.
so that it will be and end up for a long duration, at least down the line, certain
Mm-hmm.
duration of time, rather
Mm-hmm.
should not lead up to uh, having a tight coupling products, which
Mm-hmm.
will again which leads to very uncomfortness to the new developers.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Correct, correct. So, moving ahead, how do you ensure security in your Java application or the Spring Boot application?
Yeah, we have the feature like uh, Spring Security,
Yes,
through which
correct.
through which you can achieve the major chunk of
Mm-hmm.
implementing the securing your application.
Okay.
Let's say when the request comes in,
Mm-hmm.
and if your API gateway
Mm-hmm.
reads the request and authenticates and authorize the request,
Mm-hmm.
then only the user is allowed to access my microservice. So here the main
Okay.
gateway, the main roadblock is authenticating and authorizing the user, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that
Yeah, yeah,
feature is predominantly, very well we implemented using, JWT token, Spring
yeah. Okay.
Security JWT token, and it's a
Mm-hmm.
very elaborate subject to explain. In
Mm-hmm.
short, you know, to authenticate an user and to authorize an user,
Mm-hmm.
JWT provides completely uh, by payload, signature, and header. It authenticates and authorizes for every request by passing a
Mm-hmm.
token for a subsequent request to access the microservice, and it provides entire data or the user in a security context object, and
Mm-hmm.
you can access the security context and fetch the user details.
Mm-hmm.
What is the user details, like which user has logged in and what
Mm-hmm.
permissions he has, and what he can do on my application. So all
Mm-hmm.
these things we can achieve through
We
that.
can achieve. Correct. So, Shrikant, you must have visited on food delivery app like Swiggy or Zomato, right? Can you please, let's say if a client asks you to design a food delivery app from the scratch, so like how would you design?
Yeah, first I will start with you know
Mm-hmm.
understanding what are the different entities that comes in.
Okay.
Okay, we first we'll see the we'll create the tables. We'll
Mm-hmm.
create the tables like let's say
Mm-hmm.
user,
Mm-hmm.
okay, or customer.
Mm-hmm.
So customer ID, customer name,
Mm-hmm.
customer food choice.
Customer
Similarly,
feature.
menu is there. Menu
Mm-hmm.
item, menu price.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So similarly, orders. How frequently
Okay.
which he has made an order.
Okay.
Similarly, restaurants. So which
Mm-hmm.
particular restaurant he prefers the food. So we'll
Mm-hmm.
prepare entity for restaurants and restaurant ID, restaurant details, what kind of uh,
Restaurant
food
location.
items it provides,
Mm-hmm.
like veg or non-veg.
Mm.
So like that, first I will define all the entities, and
Okay.
then I'll see the relationship between them. So,
Okay.
that is cardinality between the data models.
Data
And
models.
once you have that, you should be able to first understand the complete ecosystem of that application, so
Okay.
that whenever you touch base one particular entity, and if you want to map that with another entity, you should have a
Mhm.
proper cardinality.
Okay.
So that should lead you to the enhanced, whenever you extend on
Mm-hmm.
top of it, it should be easily extendable.
Okay.
So that I'll make sure, so that
Mm-hmm.
you can successfully push the, generate
Mm-hmm.
the code based on that. And once you have the data model ready, you
Mm-hmm.
can have so many tools or frameworks available in the market. So
Mm-hmm.
you can pick up the best one and
Mm-hmm.
start, implementing that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Shrikant, have you worked on Stream APIs? Can I ask
Yes,
you
yes.
one coding question? Can you please share your screen? I will ask you one question, then
Mm-hmm.
we will just wind up.
Yeah.
So the question is, okay, so you have to write a Java program to count the occurrence of each character in a given string through the Stream API.
Right. You are able to see my notepad.
1 second. Yes, yes, I can see.
So yeah, just a minute, 1 second.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, sorry. Please go ahead.
Yes,
Yeah,
yes.
I was getting some important call from home. Yeah, that's fine.
Okay, okay. So yeah, I ask you one Stream API question.
Yeah.
So it is, you have to write a Java program
Mm-hmm.
uh, to 1 second. Uh, yeah, you have to write a Java program to count the occurrence of each character in a given string
Okay.
by using Stream API.
Okay. So let us take, the string
Mm-hmm.
uh, as like Java program.
Okay.
So now you are saying that I have to count the occurrences of
Yes,
each
yes,
character, right?
yes, yes, correct.
Is the question. So here, like I can say A occurring, A is coming for 3 times,
Three, yeah, 3 times.
right?
Yes, right.
J 1 time,
Mm-hmm.
and V 1 time,
Mm-hmm.
and P 1 time, right?
Mm-hmm.
And
Right.
R for 2 times,
Mm-hmm.
and B 1 time, P 1 time, R 2 times, O for 1 time, right?
Yes, yes, right.
And G 1 time, and M one occurrence, right? So, right. So in order to print this, first thing is there are multiple ways to do this.
Okay.
So the very basic way that we can use is like you can use a map. You can define a hash map and you
You
can
can.
iterate it if the map contains the particular key or not, and
Mm-hmm.
then get the count.
Yeah,
But
yes.
using API, since you asked for the Stream API concept,
Mm-hmm.
so yeah, we can implement it using map concept. Like let's say uh, I want to split this string. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
now I can use arrays dot split. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
so so where I can no arrays dot stream. Okay, where
Mm-hmm.
I can say I'll split the string, string dot split.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yes, yes, correct.
and then I'll say dot where I can collect it, the data.
Mm-hmm.
So I can here use the grouping. So grouping by is one of the feature provided by uh, you know
Collectors.
your Java 8 streams. So to get the to group the certain
Same character together.
data like string operations, It is similar like database operation. In database, we use the grouping function.
Mm-hmm.
Like in the same way, you can use here grouping by
Okay.
to do multiple operations, like identifying the count,
Mm-hmm.
doing the mapping the key and comparing the key and values.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so you can use this grouping by, where you can use first you identify the function. So that is function dot identity,
Mm-hmm.
where this will be used to get the identity, and where you can get the counting, collectors dot counting. No.
Okay.
Okay, so
Mm-hmm.
now once you get that, you will get the count. Now now you will get this count in terms of you know uh, like you can say A is how many times is coming, V is how
Mm-hmm.
many times it is coming. It will show all
Mm-hmm.
those values.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, now
Okay.
you have to mm, render this value either into a map or a,
Mm-hmm.
because it's a key value pair. A is
Mm-hmm.
occurring one, so A is a key, one is a value.
One is a
So I
vector.
can map it to map object, like map. Okay, where I can use
Mm.
string, comma, so I get the list
Integer.
of strings.
Okay. Okay. Okay.
So where I can say map equal to this one, array dot. So from where it starts.
Mm-hmm. Now you will just print the values size, right?
Yeah, I'll
For
just
each
print that
string.
values, that SOP of um, uh, character occurrences, character occurrences of map. That's how you can print that value.
Mm. Okay. Yeah, it's correct. And I think I just found this as a new way. I didn't think the
Right.
solution this way. It's a
Mhm.
unique way, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
Okay.
very
Yeah.
simple,
Yeah.
two
Simple.
lines of code to get that.
Yeah.
Whereas
Yeah.
in
Yeah.
case of if you take normal approach, you have to be 6 or 7 lines.
Yes. Yes. Correct.
Mm.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay, Shrikant. It's done from my end, and it was very, very informative session. I just learned a lot of things.
Oh, no problem.
Yeah. So, like, would you want to give, because the viewers of this channel are mostly from 3 years of experience, 2 years, 1 years.
Right.
So, like, would you want to give some advice to the youngsters, the junior developers, anything?
Yeah. So the only thing is like, make sure you practice the things on a
Mm-hmm.
regular basis.
Mm-hmm.
So practice makes perfect. So have a regular practice on the coding,
Mm-hmm.
especially, because when you develop any monolith to microservice application, or if it take my monolith as well, so
Mm-hmm.
you have to know the concepts very clear.
Mm-hmm.
You have to have the clear understanding of the concepts before you implement them.
Mm,
Okay,
yes.
so make sure you practice them on a regular basis, and ensure that whenever you take up any interview calls,
Mm-hmm.
so you first have the complete thorough understanding, and having a perfect 90%, I can say. People are failing today because of just listening to the videos, or listening to the just listening some lectures, and directly
Mm-hmm.
they're going for interview. So if you directly go that, like when they ask you start writing code,
Mm-hmm.
then you cannot able to make it out. So
Mm.
as and when you listen something, you just make sure that you practice it.
Yeah, you should implement that thing as well.
Yeah,
You should, people nowadays, people what are doing is they are just learning what is thread, but they haven't
right,
implemented it.
right.
Yeah, yeah.
That's how they are losing it. Yeah.
Mm. Yeah, okay. So, yeah, okay, Shrikant, thank you for your advice.